today, but it just seemed to take away from the podathon, so I just kind of left it.
Yeah. Yeah, we're live, so just hey everybody.
Hey.
It's just me and
That's
Peter.
a great intro. Yeah.
it's just Peter and I. We're just gonna chit chat about Scott Fishbowl. Both of us kind of felt like hopping on a podcast and talking. I mean, the podathon's over, so whoever still wants to listen to people talk about Scott Fishbowl, let's do it.
Well, that was fun. No, what division you in, man?
Connect 4.
Oh, nice. That's a terrible choice, but okay, cool.
It wasn't my choice. I mean, Scott probably put the
yeah.
people that he's not a fan of in there, like the bottom of the barrel, and he's like, "Oh, give them Connect 4, and we'll just kind of hide them from everybody else." You know, the cool.
I don't know about that. There's actually a glowworm division. They're currently the slowest draft as well, which says all you need to know about the glowworm division, I think. I'm trying to start inter-division fights, and so far no one's taken me up on it. So I'm just going to rag on the glowworm division for a minute, and then we'll try someone else.
Don't worry. I don't think
I want inter-division rivalry, like, you know, Transformers suck or something. But no, everyone's too nice and friendly.
Yeah.
How's the draft going, though?
Oh, man. We're only in the second round, and honestly, I got Zeke at 6, and I was pumped about that. I'm like, okay, I'll take that all day. And then the second round came, and I just sat there thinking, okay, well, where am I going to go? And I decided to go Austin Eckler, and it's all because the fantasy football counselor guy was bashing on him, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm rooting for Eckler, so let's roll with Eckler. So I took him because the FF counselor told me not to take him.
Solid plan.
Where you got Ray on?
What pick was that? Because I was hoping Eckler came back to me, and I'm like one of the only people at 103 who didn't get the choice. Like there's about 5 of us at 103 who didn't get the choice between Josh Jacobs and Austin Eckler. So, I'm at the 103 in the Thundercats division. I went Mahomes at 3 because Barkley and McCaffrey went ahead of me. Then the second round, like I said, the running backs, I thought at least one of them would be available, was gone. So I ended up going Kyler Murray. It was him or Watson. And I know, shoot for the mega upside with Murray, I guess. And we're into the middle of round 3 now, and I got Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the comeback. So QB running back for me.
Wow, it's pretty early on Edwards-Helaire.
It's a little bit early, but not that early, actually. Compared to ADP, he wasn't coming back to me, put it that way.
I mean, in Scott Fishbowl, if you want to win, those are chances you need to take. Like, hitting on a rookie like that can pole vault you to being like one of the top players in the SFB.
Right. Something's wrong there. But yeah, actually, technically, I got him a few picks later than he's going according to Kent's ADP. Usually, on average, he's going around. Clyde Edwards is going around pick 30, and I got him at 32 or whatever it was. So it's right in the range. Yeah, nice. Clyde's kind of jumping off the board. I saw someone stacked Kansas City top to bottom. They went
Mahomes,
Murray, CEH, and no, that was it. Yeah, it's Mahomes. Then CEH and Tyreek Hill in between the two, and I thought about doing that for a second, but I thought someone has already done it, so didn't want to go that way.
Can you believe the deal Mahomes got? Like, that's an insane.
I haven't seen it, but it's like 45 for 10 years, right?
Something like that. And
but didn't like sure. Brett Favre get 47 for like 8 years once? Like, it doesn't seem like inflation helped him out a little. But I mean, it seems it's more that he's got such a long time. I guess people are reacting to. But
yeah, I don't know. Like, it's worth it. I mean, he's one of the best quarterbacks we've seen in the league forever. So, I mean, it's pretty much worth it. Sorry, I'm a little occupied. I'm trying to get like Shane and Ray on. So if you guys are still watching,
go for it. I'm doing about 7 things anyway. You're not at the top of my list either, Tyler. Okay. Whatever. I don't need you.
So yeah, how's your did you do any like pre-draft stuff before the Scott Fish Bowl?
Yeah, I made a whole sheet, obviously, to track some stuff, but I only got into about one real mock, and then I did a whole bunch of auto mocks on the football workshop website from Kevin the FF engineer.
Oh, okay.
So I did some prep. I wish I could have got more mocks done because the one situation I got stuck in was the one I was least comfortable with. Like I said, when it came back to me, I was like, "There's the one place I didn't want to be." But yeah, I ended up going double QB, which wasn't the idea. I thought I'd get Barkley at 3, but that changed just before the draft kicked off. Barkley jumped up in ADP a little bit, and so Mahomes was falling. But I thought I'd go Barkley and then try and think about quarterback. But
Now we're talking Saquon Barkley, not Matt Barkley, right?
not Matt Barkley. No. That one was a surprise to me on draft day. But Shane raised quite a bit of money doing that, and I think someone did it by accident as well. Bless him.
Yeah. Not somebody actually did that on purpose.
Yeah, Shane. At least one person. Shane is worst in my division. He took
Man.
Barkley, Matt Barkley at the 111 as like a dare or a bet, so that we'd all donate to FF Cares.
So he lost Scott Fish Bowl just so he could get some money. I mean that's awesome.
Well, yeah, but we're all gonna lose Scott Fishbowl. At least you got some donations out of it, I guess. You know.
I don't know. You must be talking about yourself because my Zeke Eckler stack is pretty sweet. Now there's a lot of good teams. Drew Brees. Is it only because the interception deduction is so high? The reason why Drew Brees is going so early?
Well, Drew Brees, frankly, is a little underdrafted in the scoring system, but no one's comfortable with taking him earlier. Yeah, I mean, there's never been a better quarterback in this scoring system, like ever. Any year you can name, Drew Brees has been like top 3. And it's partly because you get points for completions, but you also get minus points for incompletions. And Drew Brees throws a lot of the former and really doesn't throw any of the latter. So, I mean, his scoring is kind of off. It's not off the charts, but it's significantly an advantage every week. And plus, with Brees, you always have the same upside, you know, frankly, as Patrick Mahomes has. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is fairly consistent in the scoring system as well, but like Brees doesn't really fade.
Yeah, I see a lot of people going because the receiver starting. A lot of people are hitting receivers early, and that was also surprising to me. I figured running backs would be just flying out the board. I mean, I figured a lot of people would be reaching, like Miles Sanders, and he seems to be going in mid-second. I know I've seen 112 in a couple spots, but yeah, I mean, I had a chance to take him, but I took Eckler over him just due to the opportunity and the touches that I think Eckler will actually have in the passing game.
I mean, yeah, for comparison, like I know off the top of my head, Deshaun Watson and a lot of quarterbacks were taken in the second round. They average around 19 to 20 points per game in Scott Fish Bowl. Drew Brees has averaged less than 24 points per game once in the last 5 years. Like last year, he was 27 points per game. The year before, he was 26 points per game. Like he's actually pretty insane. And yeah, it's because of those interceptions. Yeah, my division's been really weird, though. I was just looking it up because I thought like our draft would be really off, but we're actually pretty in line. We're a little heavy on quarterback. 28% of our picks so far have been quarterback, which makes sense. 21% according to ADP. And we've taken them from running backs. Running backs have fallen a little bit. Like 43% of our picks are running backs instead of 50% so far. Stuff like that. But wide receiver continues to be the great value. I've been trying to pull the trigger on wide receiver since my very first mock, and I haven't been able to do it because such great ones fall into the 4th and 5th and 6th. Like you can get, I don't know, name a top 12 wide receiver. You can get them in the 4th round pretty much.
Yeah.
Depending on the way your draft goes.
Yeah.
It's really tough to pull the trigger on them.
I was up north and the draft was happening and somebody's like, "What's your strategy?" And I'm like, "Well, you can pick a receiver anywhere." Like I'm a big Terry McLaurin fan. I'm a big Terry McLaurin fan, so I'm like, I'm going to wait on receiver. And then I thought about quarterback and I I saw Eckler there, and I just had tunnel vision. So talk me through the Eckler pick. Did I make the right pick at
I think
207?
so. Yeah. I think Jacobs and Eckler are pretty much neck and neck. I prefer Eckler. I prefer Jacobs over Sanders a little bit, or at least consider that all those three running backs are kind of neck and neck, and they should come after Henry and Chubb for me. But Sanders goes a lot earlier. In our draft, Mixon went a lot earlier. But
a lot of
Austin
people
Eckler, the idea is
on that.
the idea is Eckler's going to get the 3-down workload, and like the only reason to bet against that is you think he's undrafted, which is true. But like I root for that kind of thing, you know. And he's been amazing. Well, when he's gotten the ball, and his threat is a 4th-round pick, and Josh Kelly seems like a solid player, but Josh Jacobs was a really solid player in college as well, like really good 3-down running back, and that didn't seem to spread it out too much either. In Scott Fishbowl, like rushing's a little more important for running backs than it is for standard scoring as well, so that might be a negative on him. But yeah, I kind of love Eckler where he's going.
Yeah, Eckler seems like he's going to be kind of a game changer in this type of format. But where are you looking to draft your first receiver?
As soon as possible, man. Like I say, I keep getting talked out of it when I'm on the clock. But one of the strongest drafts in our division is a guy who's gone 3 straight wide receivers. I really think so. Because of all the stuff that's normally true of wide receivers, they're more repeatable, which means we know who they're going to be more often. They're more consistent. They're less prone to injury. And he's gone Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams, who everyone's letting slip to a crazy ADP right now, and then Mike Evans. It's like, oh, we all forgot how to play fantasy because Scott changed the scoring system a little bit. And now the guy's rolling out. And you've got 3 wide receiver positions. That's before you get to 3 flex positions. And just in case no one mentioned this, wide receivers are better in the flex in the scoring system. Like running backs are a lot better until you get to running back 24 and then wide receiver 36. And suddenly you're going to be playing a lot of wide receivers in your flex in the scoring system if it works the way it has done over the last few years. So you don't even want those running backs for the flex as much as you want. And you've got 3 of those as well. So I think wide receivers are a little undervalued, but they have been neutered somewhat, especially in terms of the ceiling of their production, which is what Scott, honestly, and I know he's been called out in this before, but he honestly seems to hate wide receivers. He doesn't like these new energy millennials going 0 RB, and he wants drafts to be the way they always were when I was young. And every year there's something in there to try and make wide receiver scoring crappy. And it has, but again, the position has value outside of that. And it's not like it's so low it's not going to be good on a week-to-week basis. I looked this up, but I can't remember what it said. Let's see, yeah, on a week-to-week basis, top 5 wide receivers average 17 points per game, and running backs average 19, closer to 20 points per game in the top 5. And again, that's neutered compared to regular PPR, where they're pretty much exactly even. Inside the top 5, it's 18 points, and inside the top 5 wide receiver, it's 18 points in PPR scoring. But Scott Fish, it diminishes them slightly and pushes rushing running backs up a bit. But I mean, it's not that much different. It's not you can draft Mike Evans after Zach Ertz. That's a thing that just happened. So
that's not, people hate Mike Evans still, which I don't get.
They do a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you feel. I think it depends on the division you're in and who's in it, but I think there's a strong dynasty bias which hurts people in Scott Fishbowl too. We've got Chris Godwin going ahead of Mike Evans. What's the case there? Now Mike Evans won't be good at all. They were both top 12 wide receivers last year. Mike Evans has been there longer. He's got rarer value skill set. And Chris Godwin has to match basically insane level of efficiency, which is unlikely. And that's where we use that nasty regression word to do what he did last year. Was Mike Evans just did exactly what he always does. So the dynasty bias is, Chris Godwin's new. But I mean, that doesn't matter in a redraft. So why is Godwin consistently higher than Evans? I don't know. Or consistently, half a round higher.
Oh, we got Doug. Doug's joining us.
What's up? It just said join, so I was like, I'm just chilling here watching TV. What's up?
I snuck attack a podcast with Peter. I was a little bored tonight. I wanted to talk.
Hey, Peter, how's it going?
Hey, buddy.
And we're just chatting about our divisions and how
Ooh.
early Matt Barkley in ADP has gone. And,
Yeah. Yeah, who scores more points, Charles, Matt, or Gnarls Barkley this year? That's the question.
Now Charles seems like he could have a good chance, but Matt Barkley, I mean, with his rushing ability, seems like he could be one of the top dogs at his position.
Based on his ADP, it seems pretty clearly to be Matt.
Yeah, I mean he's got a higher ADP than probably half the quarterbacks in the league now. So
Right. I think he's a top 3 quarterback according to the ADP last time I saw it, because he got drafted second and then like at the end of the first round twice.
So my favorite thing, this is almost exactly like the whole Adrian Peterson debacle that happened. Yeah, the Chicago Adrian Peterson versus the Minnesota AP. Well, Doug's dial-up internet must say, I mean, he's in Lincoln Log Division, so I mean, he probably hasn't changed his internet connection since Lincoln Log came out.
Okay. It's all coming great.
Sorry, I was listening to the wife. Yes.
No, you're coming in. You're coming in
to bed?
super smooth.
Don't worry about it.
I'm on LTE. What can I say?
Is that something? Well, you live in Rhode Island, so like your guys' connection circle is as big as your state. So not very wide is what I'm trying to say.
That's what she said.
So let me go through my league quick. I'll pull it up. I think we're still in the second round. I mean, we are dragging along.
Yes,
I mean,
you
we're
are.
not as bad as what division is that again, Peter?
Is it Glowworm?
Glowworm, yeah.
Jeez. I mean, Glowworm, what a fantastic toy, but what a horrible division to be in.
Hey, what does a glowworm do? It just crawls around slowly, right? So I guess they're just living up to their namesake.
That's so true. But like glowworms, you never see them anymore. They would be amazing right now. I mean, I would love to have one for my daughter.
Yeah, I'm sure you can pick one up on eBay. Just like put it in the washing machine first.
Yeah, it comes.
You don't know what that thing's in.
Comes with couch bugs and all that stuff. What are they called? Those things that like crawl inside your skin.
Inside your skin?
Scabies.
Scabies, yeah.
Oh.
A distant cousin of rabies, FYI.
Dingus's crabs. I think we're talking about something else.
No, Tyler's had those. He knows exactly what those are like.
What you need to do is you need to buy a comb and some spray.
If you have crabs, don't you just shave it all off? Isn't that the easiest thing?
Yeah. Hey, we should call Manscaped and try to get a sponsorship right now.
Ooh. I like that. I like that idea. That's a good one.
Not only for Peter's beard, but for your ball beard.
Your ball. Oh my god. Ballbeard.com.
So we had actually in our division, let me see if I can screen share this. Of course I won't be able to because. All right. Can you guys see my screen?
I'm not even looking at you. Nope.
You guys can't see my screen?
You got to share it, then you got to add it by clicking on it.
Oh.
What a noob.
Well, Google Chrome sucks. So, all right. So in my division, I went Zeke at 6 because the picks went McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, not Matt, surprisingly there. Alvin Kamara, Lamar Jackson, then Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes, the second quarterback taken.
Oh, Mahomes was for me at the 1-5. I would have smashed that.
Yeah, I was at 1-6, and I would have loved to have Mahomes, but Zeke at 106 is glorious. Then we have Michael Thomas, then 2 tight ends, Kelsey, then Kittle, Derrick Henry at 110, Dalvin Cook, Joe Mixon at 112, Dak at 201.
You sound surprised.
He's gone early. I was surprised he was still there. Devontae Adams at 202, Kyler at 203, Drew Brees at 204, Russell Wilson at 205, Deshaun Watson at 206. And that's probably the reason why I didn't go quarterback, because I'm like, okay, the top tier is pretty much gone. So I went Eckler at 207. 208 was Miles Sanders, and 209 was Nick Chubb. And now we are at 210, who has 2 hours and 43 minutes left to pick. So he's really thinking about who he needs.
Yeah, we are parked right now at the 304, and he's got 2 hours left. I've been in the batters the on deck circle here for a while, so I'm hoping for either some combination of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, DeAndre Hopkins, or Carson Wentz. These are like the three real options I'm interested in. I'm interested to see what the guy's going to take in front of me. I have a feeling if he times out, it'll be Helaire, which I'm okay with, because I'll take Hopkins, I think, over Wentz.
We got Mr. Big Dog joining us. Ray.
What's going on, fellas? What's up?
Same old. It looks like it's pretty dark. It looks like the kids and wife are in bed. I know last night on the podathon you're talking about how, the wife would come get you if you potted extra time or anything. So
yeah, and I did wake up my 9-month-old later because I was trying to sneak some snacks and drop the mop, and it banged the floor and woke him up. So that was no bueno. That was no bueno.
That's a rookie move right there.
And I just realized I ghosted Anthony and Miko. And my DMs weren't working when you were trying to contact me, and he was DMing me at the same time. I meant to record with him tonight and I forgot. And he's been DMing me for the last 3 hours and I didn't know. And I'm just sitting here with you all because I had nothing to do. So yeah. Whoops.
Peter is ghosting people.
Oh God!
Night.
Straight up
all damn night.
Oh God! What's up with Twitter, man? You wouldn't tell me when people are writing me.
Twitter is the best or the worst. It's the Jekyll and Hyde.
It's like all technology, though.
The Two-Face. I mean, after the whole entire burn thing. So Ray, how's your SFB draft going?
I don't know. I hope well, but I'm just, I'm a little terrified of these quarterbacks with bad offensive lines that take a lot of sacks. I'm just maybe I'm overreacting, but I mean I had the 101, so started. Pretty chalk. I didn't get spicy there, so CMC, and then it was like a massive running back run, man. I heard Peter talking about Eckler. I was hoping Eckler, Jacobs, Sanders would fall for that 212 spot, and they were all gone. So I just double tapped quarterback. I went Wentz and I went Watson. So I'm Wentz, Watson, Mahomes, and in my division, the Viewmaster division, I think at that time, 9 quarterbacks had been taken, 12 running backs, and 2 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends. So the value was clearly, still sitting at the wide receiver position. So I feel good about who I'll get in the, the 4th and 5th round at wide receiver. So I'm hoping, maybe I'm overreacting, but these damn quarterbacks taking sacks, throwing incompletions. Maybe I'm tripping, but I mean Watson, he loses Nuke. The Texans' offensive line is not very good. He was already scrambling for his life last year. Just I don't know. I don't feel great about it, but we'll see how the rest of it plays out.
I took Watson. I had the 105, which I took Zeke Elliott. A pretty chalk start in Lincoln Logs. It was McCaffrey, then it was Mahomes, Barkley, Jackson, and then I took Zeke. And then at the 208, we had quite a few quarterbacks go. And talking about tier breaks, like Deshaun Watson was that last guy. Dak was gone. Russ was gone. Breeze was gone. Obviously, Lamar and Patrick are gone too. So for me, it was Deshaun Watson at the 208 because we had a running back run too. It was very quarterback running back heavy. Miles Sanders was gone. Josh Jacobs was gone. Nick Chubb was gone. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take the last guy that I view as in that particular tier of quarterbacks. And I took Deshaun Watson. I have the same concerns that you do around sacks because that, like you said, that line isn't very good. But The thing with Watson is he doesn't have a tendency to turn the ball over a ton, and his completion percentage is usually pretty high. I know he lost Hopkins, but I think with some of the, hopefully a healthy Will Fuller, a healthy Brandon Cooks, there's
healthy Will Fuller. Come on.
I know. I mean, there are pieces around him where I don't think, if you look at the scoring system, he was, I think, the QB 5 or 6 last year. So, I was like, it's either that or do I reach and take a Carson Wentz, or do I pivot to wide receiver? Because the only wide receiver taken at that point was Michael Thomas. Devontae Adams lasted until 302 in my division, which was wild. I'm at the 305. I'm in the on deck circle, and I'm hoping DeAndre Hopkins is still available for me after this guy finally picks. So if I can start Zeke, Deshaun Watson, and Hopkins, I'll be pretty happy with that, because we still haven't seen, quarterbacks. Wentz and Matt Ryan are the best available. So I don't feel I need to tap a quarterback. I think I can wait for one in the 4 or 5 area for the
Matt Ryan's good year. I mean, come on now. It's Matt Ryan's.
It is consistent every other.
Yeah.
So
Super Bowl year, Atlanta Falcons. Here we go.
Not with that defense. Sorry, Tyler.
Hey,
Tyler, do I sound better? Do I sound better now?
Dude, you always sound good, even when it's your computer mic.
I was gonna say you never sounded bad, Ray. Quit it.
Amateur.
I'm using my phone, so anything's better than that.
So let's go back to when Peter thought I was ghosting him. So his DMs weren't working. I go and I make my supper because we just got back from up north today, and I legit am skipping my supper to talk to Peter Howard, Ray, and Doug. Like, look at this thing. I made myself a veggie burger because I got to stay healthy.
Is that Boca?
It's black bean veggie burger. So
okay, all right.
It's
Need
good.
to get that Beyond Meat, son. That shit's good.
Have you guys tried that Incredible Whopper?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It just does things to your stomach because you're not used to it, but it tastes good.
It just destroys you like 2 hours after you have it.
No, it doesn't destroy me like regular Burger King does, so that's good.
Okay. So Ray, first of all, I want to congratulate you on your new gig. I know I did on Twitter, but dude, that's huge. I mean, it seems like yesterday you just came in as just a lost puppy in Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah. Seriously.
Man, that's awesome. Well deserved.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Peter Howard, I heard a smoke shop is looking for a cigarette roller. I could get you in contact with that.
I'm on it.
He rolls those things so fast and
so
so effortlessly. Like I'm talking to Peter for 3.5 hours, and he looks away, and then he just rolled one up like that fast. I'm just like, how did you do that? Like no commotion.
Who's gonna get a job at the dispensary? Forget cigarette place.
Peter, we gotta talk offline. I need your help.
I didn't know there was such a dearth of ability to cigarette roll out there.
Little do we know.
Or maybe
Peter's
start up
got,
a different kind of Patreon.
Peter's got a background of sushi rolling. Like we have no idea. He's like an ex-sushi expert rolling sushi rolls like crazy.
Yeah, I imagine they're pretty different, but no, I just been rolling cigarettes a long time, man. How do you get good at anything?
Yeah, you get good at it.
I used to know a guy who could do it while he was driving one-handed. No idea how
What
to do
happened
that.
to him?
Can't do it with one hand.
He got in a car accident.
He died in a car accident. No. As far as I know, he's still going. Unless cancer finally got him. I don't know.
So yeah, so you guys are in what, the 4th round coming up? Doug, I know you're going to be coming up on your 4th pick.
Be coming up on my 3rd pick.
3rd, okay. Peter's the one that's further ahead.
Yeah, we just started into our 4th round. I don't think it's going to get back to me before, everyone goes to bed. But
Well, what time is it in England?
I don't know. I'm in Kentucky.
You're not going to get me with this whole entire Kentucky accent thing.
5 hours behind us or so, something like that. So around 6. Or is it
Peter,
ahead?
the first time I talked to Peter, I go, "Hey man, what's your accent?" He goes, "Kentucky." And legit, it kept me awake for like 2 hours. Like, no, he's BSing me. Like, there's no way.
Oh, Tyler. Tyler G stands for gullible, apparently.
G is very gullible, for sure.
Well, technically, it kind of is now. I only get asked if I'm Australian anymore because everyone here knows I sound different, but no one in England thinks I sound English. So,
You're legit
it's a
Australian.
blend. It's a blend. And apparently that comes out Australian. Who knew?
Peter, did you like that GIF or GIF that I tweeted you that day? That European style? Did you like that?
Look at you, people pleaser, using both pronunciations of GIF just to make sure. Just make sure no one's unhappy. Like
that GIF GIF.
Gotta be all encompassing here.
GIF,
GIF.
GIF.
People are different. I loved it, man. Fantastic.
You don't even know what the hell I'm talking about.
I do not. Sorry, my Twitter is broken. Apparently, I'm seeing
the hell out of here, dude. Freaking! I do the same thing. I do the same thing. Hey, Ray, did you see that? Yeah.
Yeah, man, I got you.
Yeah.
Like
he's
Ray's learning. He's trying to get the percentages done with his wife. Probably. Hey, did you check this? And then you think about it. Yeah, I did.
I did that. Yeah,
probably definitely thought about doing that. I don't know. No, to be fair, when you asked if anyone wanted to come chat, I'm only here because I was trying to fix a vacuum cleaner, and because I'm old and frail now, somehow just in the process of standing up, I hurt my back. And so I was like, I'm gonna go sit down in the chair.
That's the worst.
Takes a weight off my back. And so I was just sitting here feeling lonely. And Tyler came onto Twitter and was like, hey, anyone want to chat? I was like, I'm stuck here, so let's go.
Yeah, just wait until you go to get up again. That's the fun part.
No, Peter told me he wants the podcast for like 5 hours, as long as the numbing agent he put on his back kicks in.
Seriously, man, people complain about. Maybe I'm weird, but like the Open Bar's got a record, which is basically half of one of my recorded episodes. Ask Ray, 3.5 hours were on there, and that was just one episode. Or ask Zach. Like we just get to talking and we talk. I mean, the Podathon's complaining about how hard it was to do 24 hours. And I realized I would have done that every time I interviewed someone if they didn't have to go to bed. Like, I don't get it just seems to go, man.
It's podcast has never ended because Peter said, all right, let's wrap it up. Like the guest
it has literally never been like, oh, look at the time. It's never happened to me.
I'm done. It's 2 a.m. Peter. I'm going to sleep. Leave me alone.
They drop hints. Listening back to all my podcasts, you can hear them dropping hints about, having a life. And hey, but I'm married. And hey, I think the building's on fire, Pete. Do you want to go check that out? And I don't get it until they literally throw it in my face. It's like, man, I gotta go. And then I'm like, oh yeah, sure. Sorry, it has been 4 hours. Sorry.
It's funny you guys talk about long episodes because when we started Dynasty Happy Hour, we would go 2.5 hours, and it was impossible to chop it down. And my old co-host was like, dude, we need to go 2.5 hours to get all the info. And I'm like, nobody has the attention span to go 2.5 hours. And I'm like, if we post a podcast 2.5 hours, people are going to listen to it for like 15 minutes, see how long it is, and be like, you know what? I'm out. Like, that's it.
I know. I think there's some sort of call for it these days. I mean, what's a typical Joe Rogan episode? An hour and a half? And people will literally listen to it and then go watch it on YouTube. So I think people kind of like content they can just sit and vibe, especially if it's just a natural conversation. I try and split the difference. When it's just me, and I'm fairly strict with myself, I keep it to 20, 30 minutes and get out of there. But I think if you're generally having a good conversation, that's better than making sure you stick to the time.
Well, and also the Podathon, you got to remember, like they have.
Oh, I was just being mean to them. They do great work.
The most difficult thing about podcasting is the first like 15 minutes of getting like the sway of things. Yeah, the conversation started and getting to know people's vibes and how people are feeling at that day and time. Because like I could know Doug could be having a bad day and I could make a joke and Doug would just be like, no, not today. So like you never know on the day, and it takes like 15 minutes. By the time that 15 minutes is done, all you've got is 15 minutes of pure chemistry with that person. So the Podathon's difficult in that way. So I got to give the tip of the cap to those guys because, man, I mean, they have to reset every 30 minutes as well and get that conversation going again with a new person. It's not easy.
That's honestly the reason my episodes are so long is partly because I enjoy a good conversation and also because it takes me so long to get there because I'm terrible at getting that started. I have to talk to someone for like half an hour before we really develop a rapport. That's great.
Go ahead, Ray.
What I appreciate about those guys last night, I was listening to the people who were ahead of me and then the people who came behind me, and they asked all of them like legitimate questions about SFBX strategy and what would you do? They asked me none of that, and I was like, that's probably the best move you guys could have made is to not ask me any type of advice on what to do at certain picks because I haven't been able to grind the tape on some of these NFL guys, so my analysis isn't all the way put together yet. So, Peter, I love that film, big dog. Without the film, what do we have here? I don't care about your spreadsheets, Peter. I don't care about.
Love my spreadsheets.
I don't care about any of that crap about historical data. I just need the TV. I need the tape, Peter.
Peter's private spreadsheets are fantastic.
Right. And the truth will come out one day and it'll just turn out like all Ray's doing behind the scenes is constantly cranking data. Like literally can't stand watching football. It's just spreadsheets all the time.
Dude,
we'll find the truth one day. I'll break them.
I made something one time that had colors and it just kind of like identified. You know what I'm talking about? Where
Yeah,
it's
I know
like
exactly.
The highest is green and the lowest is red. And I thought I just like painted the Mona Lisa. I was like, dude, look at what I did. And I don't even know. I think it was like fumbles or something like that. And had the colors, man. I was like, dude, I'm there. I've made it.
Whoa, what is that? Chris Carson all the way at the bottom by himself in red?
Dude, I think I actually had it opposite where the worst was green.
All right, so Chris Carson was right at the top.
Chris Carson's in the green. All right.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
So yeah, Tim does our spreadsheets and stuff for stuff like that when we do our rookie scouting and when he's like, I could color code it. Like I was the same way, Ray. I was like, what? You could do that? Like, no.
I'm terrible with that stuff.
Like, and in my head, I'm like, dude, this guy had to go on to school for like 3 years to know this stuff.
It's just a button. Click. Hey, look, I'm a genius. Ray, what do you do then? You said you hadn't cranked all the stuff for the NFL. You're so heavy into Devy. What do you do when you're like playing fantasy for, regular fantasy leagues where you're so heavy into Devy? Do you find that's difficult to translate over to your leagues then? Because you're mostly focused on Devy tape than NFL tape. Not really. It's not that hard, which is the truth.
College football. I just watch a lot of college football, man. Like realistically, like if I had to pick between the NFL or college, I'd rather watch football on Saturday opposed to Sunday. So the Devy side of it for me is just like all I'm doing is talking about what the hell I see on Saturday. Like that's really it. And I let smart people like you and Jesse Reeves and everybody else tell me their age-adjusted production, and then I just regurgitate that. That's really all I'm doing is saying what I see on Saturdays mixed with other smart people in the industry. But ultimately, it's all fantasy, man. I love Dynasty. I love fantasy football. So that's always at the forefront of it. I just dive into college a little bit more than, some other people. I just love the college game, man. So it doesn't really change anything, to be honest with you. I just know about some of these rookies a little bit earlier.
I was just wondering if you've ever thought about playing primarily or mostly college fantasy leagues, because, like you were saying, that's kind of where your jam's at. It's not like you can't play NFL, but if that's what you prefer, because I've been doing a similar thing with redraft. Like I love Dynasty and the theory of it, but honestly, I love drafting, and you just get to do more of it with redraft. So, like, shouldn't I play a little bit more redraft?
I'll say this though, Peter. College fantasy is completely different than Devy. You know what I mean? I did my first college fantasy league last year, and I drafted all these Devy guys, and they were absolute crap. So college fantasy is way. That's not my wheelhouse whatsoever. It's way different than Devy. Debbie is just dynasty. You're just getting those guys a year earlier, and for me, it's just another layer of like trade assets that you can move around. It just adds to the dynasty flavor. But college fantasy is a completely different animal. Those people who play that are true degenerates because they know players that I've never heard of that go out there and score 18 points a game. So it's just different.
So Ray, that Heisman to was it Halas?
Yep.
That team I gave you. So how I drafted was I knew like the top 50 players, and then I legit just went on 24/7 Sports and checked on like the recruit, the 5 stars, the 4 stars, and that's how I got players like the running back from Tennessee, what's his name,
Yep.
Gray.
Eric Gray.
That's how I got him and a couple other players. So that's how I play, because there's a lot of people that are like, oh, this guy's going to kill it. And I'm sitting in the chat like, yeah. Like one of those percentages saying, I could say yes. I could say yes. And just somebody be like, oh, yeah, did you watch this game? And be like, oh, crap. And just dig myself in the hole. Or just come out and admit how I played it. But no, those leagues are insane. I missed that team because that team was so good. And
It's a good team you drafted.
I just hope that you're taking care of it, if you even still have that team.
Oh, I quit the league.
I knew you did.
Painful.
It was a good team though. I mean, it was in the NFL side, you had a really good team. College side, you had some good high-end assets, Trevor Lawrence, DeAndre Swift. So whoever picks that team up is going to have a solid team on their hands. But you gave it to me because you had the birth another child. And then, when I accepted it, I didn't have another kid, and now I had another kid, and I don't have time, and I'm,
you should try 3.
I appreciate it,
3's a blast.
No, thank you.
We found the wrath of 3 today. Like we're sitting there. This weekend we went up to lake. This weekend, I had my son in the water, and I posted this on Twitter today, and they're called, what are they called? Lily pads that go off the back of a boat. They're huge, and they're just huge things that you can stand on. And somebody we're at the lake with was on one, and then he jumped off and it flew over my daughter's head. And luckily I looked at the right time because she just had a life jacket on. This thing was like pushing down on her. And man, I'll tell you, there's nothing scarier than that moment. But like, I was so focused on my 3-year-old son, who's also in the water. So I had the choice of being like, okay, I'm going to take my chance with my son on this floaty. And hopefully he doesn't just decide to fall in, because my son tries to kill himself every single day. Like,
I was going to say, just don't be adventurous for 5 minutes is usually my my quest. Please, just for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, impossible with boys, because I always tell my dad, I'm like, man, my son is always trying to commit suicide. I'm afraid for his life, because he's just falling down steps like, oh, okay. Like, he has no fear and no sense. But yeah, and then I just ran over there. But man, like, my wife has the baby, and then I was keeping an eye on 2 kids in the water while having like major ADD. I can't focus on anything. So I'm staring at my hand. But man,
I knew a guy who had 8 kids once, and he said basically once you get over 3, it's the same as having 3, because basically what he was trying to explain is they just become a pack. And instead of seeing individual kids, you just kind of gotta like sheepdog them around instead of worrying about the individuals.
Just don't forget,
I don't know, man. I don't think that sounds fun. Like, I don't want to stop seeing individual kids and just see like a pack of animals. That doesn't sound right to me.
I used to pick up.
But he was like, "Oh no, it's just as easy." It's like, I don't care.
That's how I picked up women back in the day. I'd sheepdog. Oh, which way you going?
Right, just hurt them. Okay.
Oh man, but
hey, can I ask y'all? Sorry, Tyler. I was going to ask a question.
This is open forum right now. I'm not a host. Doug is taking the night off from hosting. This is just open forum.
Just chilling.
So last year in the Scott Fish Bowl, I was burned by rookie running backs. Like, I really thought Kerryon Johnson was going to do something in Detroit. Josh Jacobs. David Montgomery. I drafted all 3. My team was crap. I had Mahomes and so is there any? I'm seeing Jonathan Taylor come off of the board. third, fourth round. I know Peter was talking about Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but is there any trepidation with these rookies? Because while J.K. Dobbins could help you win the championship in week 16, you got to get there first, right? And if he's not getting the opportunity, if you start off, this is redraft. If you start off 0-3, 1-4, I mean, the chances are you're done. Yeah, you're done for. So, do you feel, what rookies, if any, do you really feel confident in? Like, I really don't want any of the rookie wide receivers. Joe Burrow, maybe. The running backs, probably a little more so. But I mean, with no practice, and Peter and I talked about this. I mean, Marlon Mack's not going away. Kerryon Johnson is going to be involved in that offense as long as he's on the field. But I mean, do we really want to be investing in these rookies for redraft in this tournament?
I'll give you my opinion. So we talked about it on Dynasty Happy Hour last night with the rookie wide receivers. So last year I took Hollywood Brown, DK Metcalf, and Terry McLaurin all after round, I think it was 15. And, 3 of those guys, that was pretty nice depth to have. I think the thing that we're going to see this year, especially where wide receiver ADP is already suppressed, I think that people are going to draw the narrative with rookie wide receivers because of no mini camp, possibly no preseason games, that there's going to be rookie wide receivers that really struggle this year. But I think at their ADPs, guys like Jalen Reagor, Justin Jefferson, who landed in spots where they could see a pretty heavy target percentage, are going to be values in Scott Fishbowl, and they're going to outperform their ADP pretty easily when most of these guys you're probably looking at going in round probably 12 or later, I think, for most of them. And that might be aggressive. You might not see rookie wide receivers start to go until a little bit later than that too. As far as running backs go, I think what people cling on to is the hope of drawing the narrative of the hope of, well, Jonathan Taylor has a big game and then he's the dude, which, trust me, I own Jonathan Taylor in a bunch of leagues and I want that to happen.
Stop rubbing it in.
Yeah, Tyler's trying to trade for him.
Doug's holding back on me. I own no Jonathan Taylor and he's holding back on me. He's pulling the strings.
That's a you thing. That you don't own him. That's not a me thing. I have him in a few leagues. I'm happy with him. But I think people see the upside is like, all right, well, if I take Jonathan Taylor, it's a swinging for the fences. And I think in a league like Scott Fishbowl, where you have to be maybe a little bolder to set yourself apart from the chalk, it makes their ADPs more palatable for people to take Jonathan Taylor in the 3rd round, where I think in a standard redraft league, he would go later than that. Just my opinion. I think that you look at the ceiling of Jonathan Taylor and it could be immense, but Marlon Mack, Naheem Hines, like those guys are still there, like you said, Ray. So yeah, I think it's not a strategy for me. If I'm going to take any rookies, it's going to be later, and I'm really going to focus on wide receivers this year because I feel that there's guys that can contribute and help win you weeks. Especially when we talk about bye weeks and just having good depth, because injuries are going to happen maybe more so this year than we've had in the past because of the lack of OTAs and training camp.
I think the positional rules still hold, though. Running backs break out earlier. They break out heavier. I mean, what rookie running back did you have to wait till the end of the season to get the good stuff out of? David Johnson? But who are we comparing them to? First and second round running backs? Jonathan Taylor, the team has clearly gone out of their way to draft to replace those guys. Like, David Johnson was a low, 4th round? But like, he wasn't drafted to do that. They just kind of hoped. So it took a while for them to ease in. But most running backs, whether it happens or it doesn't, we can expect a little bit more earlier. With wide receivers, you're right. I mean, it doesn't happen. But here's the thing. Like, I just created this breakout database across all positions. Like, the first year a player crossed certain thresholds, and every year except for 2 going back to 2000, a rookie wide receiver has finished in the top 24. And yes, it takes a little longer, but listen to the list of players. AJ Brown, and this is all in their first year. AJ Brown, Calvin Ridley, Juju Smith-Schuster, Michael Thomas, Tyreek Hill, Amari Cooper, Mike Evans, Odell Beckham. These are all in 2014. Kelvin Benjamin, Keenan Allen. They might have wait a little bit longer into the season to get it, but all of them were incredibly relevant when they did it. So do you want to gamble on rookie wide receivers? Yes. Do we know which one it is? No. But normally we get at least one becoming significant in a very, very important way. So do you want to take a shot at them where their ADP is? Probably. Which one? That's kind of up to you. But it's not a bad idea to try and shoot for that one guy.
And I think that's the thing too. So we talk about like Jonathan Taylor, like you're going to have to spend a 3rd-round pick. Hilaire is going to be a 3rd-rounder in Scott Fishbowl. So you're going to have to spend draft capital to hopefully get one of these guys that hits, where as opposed to a Jalen Reagor, Justin Jefferson, maybe it's Michael Pittman, like any of these guys, you're not going to have to spend the same draft capital, and they're not going to be starters for your team. So for me, the payoff is like, okay, if I can draft a guy that, later in the draft, I'm not relying on him to be a starter, but he breaks out like I did with Terry McLaurin last year. Like that's perfect. And I feel like the draft capital risk is heavy with running backs, where at wide receiver, you can take shots a little bit more willy-nilly and hit on one, as opposed if you're taking shots on young running backs from rounds like 3 through 6, like that could bite you in the ass and totally tank your team.
It could, but at the same time, like we were all over Saquon in his rookie year, and if you did that in the first round, like you were like qualifying through the next round of Scott Fishbowl. So I mean, it's case by case, but in general, you should expect
Saquon
running backs
he had to beat out Jonathan Stewart, right, for the starting running back spot, like
right.
Wayne Gallman. Let's not forget about him. All right, let's give
Orlean Starkwa.
So
here's the $1 million question.
How far down do you want to go, though?
DeAndre
Like
Swift.
Saquon was a 1st-round pick. Jonathan Taylor's a 3rd-round pick. That's accounted for by his ADP.
What about
like
DeAndre
the risk
Swift?
reward factor? I think is fair there.
What about DeAndre Swift? I mean, everybody's all bashing his situation, but what's to stop him from catching 50 to 70 footballs? I mean, I don't think much, because I don't think they trust Kerryon out of the backfield as much. I think they took Swift as more of a Alvin Kamara-esque type player for that offense. And if that's the role he's going to play, I think Stafford knows how to use that type of weapon. Stafford has shown that he can throw the running back the football quite well. He's smart at checking down. So, I mean, it may suck for TJ Hawkinson, who we all thought the check down was going to be. It could be DeAndre Swift.
I think that's fine, and maybe that's the case. But like, if that's my concern, I kind of don't like his ADP if that's what I'm hoping for from him. Like to Doug's point, I think I can get more. I can expect more from a running back I'm drafting in that range without having to worry about this safe but lower floor. But I think we can expect a little more from Swift would be my thing.
If you could get like a juiced up Theo Riddick season out of Swift in his rookie year, that wouldn't be bad.
No, I just think it would kind of suck for his ADP. Like, I'd hope for a little more if I'm willing to reach for him there. But then again, if it's Dynasty or a regular league, sure. But if we're talking redraft, I mean, that's just my thought.
What was that, Ray?
I was going to ask Doug, what if taking the gamble on the rookie wide receiver later is the play? I know we don't know, but if you had to put your stamp on one of these rookie wideouts, who would it be for you?
I think out of all the rookie wideouts that I would want, that I think is going to have the best year one, it's so deep at wide receiver. I think it's going to be either Reagor or Justin Jefferson.
That's me.
Because
that's me as well. Same.
Yeah.
Same.
Just because, like, you look at the Eagles depth chart now. I know, if Deshaun Jackson's healthy and they've got Alshon Jeffrey, there's a lot of what ifs with Philadelphia, right? Like, we just don't know. But what if, they have the same injury issues they had last year? Reagor, they drafted him in the 1st round. He's going to get targets. Same thing with Justin Jefferson. Stephon Diggs is out of the picture. Now, I understand that, they're going to use the 2 tight ends. They're probably going to use Irv Smith more, who I love late in Scott Fishbowl. I think has a potential to be a tight end 1 kind of easily, because you don't need to be great to be a tight end 1. Let's be honest. I can see where Irv Smith could break into that back end tight end 1 this year. But Justin Jefferson, if you said, all right, he's going to command 20% of targets, yeah, I get it. Totally could happen. Like, I can see that. So those 2 guys to me are the top 2. And then I would probably count on like a Michael Pittman again, because of draft capital and opportunity. I like Pittman a lot, especially compared with Rivers, because it's he reminds me a little bit about Malcolm Floyd. And when Phillip Rivers had Malcolm Floyd, he was usable in fantasy. Now Pittman doesn't have the wheels that Floyd had, but he's got the size, the contested catches, and he's a huge red zone threat where he's the big receiver on the team. So I can see Pittman scoring 8 touchdowns, maybe only having like 800 yards, but I can see an 8 touchdown season in his rookie year. So for that, I'd probably put him third in those ranks of guys I want in Scott Fishbowl that are going to contribute in year one.
Ray, you're getting heat. Nate List.
I see Nate talking his trash, man. I love Nate, man.
Yeah,
Nate
no,
and I
he's
are gonna
good
have
stuff.
it. We're gonna have it out about this player though here on Breakout Finder shortly about Run No More. No pun intended.
Yeah, next year's class is going to be insane at receiver. That's all I got to say. I mean, I see Rashad Bateman every Saturday, and oh man, like just,
Hey, hot tip: stock up on those 2021 second-round picks, guys. Just like we said in 2020, get those second-round picks.
oh yeah.
Pay the price; they're cheap. The firsts are expensive, the seconds are cheap, and they'll pay off.
See, this is where Peter has no idea what we're talking about. 'Cause we're
None.
not
He has
speaking.
No,
no
I
clue
know a
what's
lot of what you're talking about. It'd have a lot more impact if you didn't say it every damn year. Like, I heard nothing but this for 2 years about 2020. Like, give it a break, guys. You got to pick a year, and that's the year you put.
Hey,
not
Peter,
every year. The
Kentucky's
next
not
year's
that far
better.
from Minnesota, right?
down,
Just drive
calm
up there
down.
and put a fist in his pie hole.
No, the thing is I've got to put it into a math equation for him. So like this plus this divided by this to the power of 3 will get you a
It's like
2021
Goodwill
second.
Hunting for children.
That's what I was
How
going to ask
how
you
about
earlier.
this? No fantasy season for 2021 prospects means 2021 wide receivers are going to suffer inordinately. So if you go trade for all those picks at peak value right now, you're probably going to get less than wide receivers with lower draft capital, maybe coming into a less prime season. Like, that's my concern right now, not
Yeah.
how well
I
we
would say-
inaccurately think
Say
they're
second
skilled right
rounders
now.
are peak value.
Sorry,
So-
I missed that one, man.
I
Yeah,
think
your
your 2021 second
Elton
rounders
John
aren't
as well.
peak value. I think they're below value.
Doug, your LTE connection is I don't know if you're in the dungeon right now.
I'm in the
He's
man
got the
cave.
nice pose.
I think
You
I think what he was saying was right. I just didn't hear enough of it to know.
So here's where Peter just takes the
That's
percentage
exactly
guessing
correct, Peter.
game.
Okay.
Peter's taking the percentage guessing game where he's like, I think what he said is correct. Yep.
I take the bit I
There you go. I'm
know.
switching over to Wi-Fi for you. See if it works better.
Well, geez, I hope your Wi-Fi
again,
is free and it's
Like,
not.
it's
per
not like
minute.
I really like what I saw out of Rashad Bateman because I've got prospecting for all years going. I just like to see the full college profile because
Yeah.
the problem I've got is that I don't think the value of what they do in college is just the heights or the numbers they reach. I think it's experience. I think it's training. I think it's practice. And if the 2020 season is neutered in that way, obviously these guys that you're seeing that are good still look good. But I worry about the knock-on effect of that. Losing a whole year of practice before you hit the big game.
Yeah.
Does that mean Rashad Bateman could have been Odell Beckham, but now he's going to start a little slower or won't even get there because the team will give up on him? I don't
know.
think
We've
so,
never-
but I'm
we've-
worried about it.
We've never
Sorry.
seen it though, so I don't
Exactly.
I don't think we
Exactly, yeah.
could land on one side of.
We-
I think you just take the information that was
I would-
presented. We've never seen a season where there was no college football. We've
Have
never
you
seen
not?
that.
We
That
have
hasn't
seen wide
happened.
receivers declare early. We actually saw one who was a perennial. Everyone said, yeah, this guy's great. And he won a court case based on a weird situation to actually join the
Oh my
NFL a
gosh.
year before his eligibility.
Yeah.
And he still seemed like a good player, but he never really got up. And again, we haven't seen it. That's one
you
sample.
talking about
Every time we see a certain sample of it, it's not. I
He's
know
talking
it's
about
not been
Mike
good.
Williams. Mike Williams,
Oh.
right?
I'd have to go look it up again, but I did
But-
find this one kid who won a court
I-
case because of a weird situation.
I think
and
it's Mike Williams from USC.
Could be.
I think.
That name rings a bell,
Oh,
but
wow.
it was a few years ago now.
He's also
But,
6'5", 260 pounds, but neither here nor there.
But again, he was
Whoa,
a top,
how
he
do
was
we start talking about
top-rated
Justin Blackman
prospect
now?
like this year, the year before.
Yeah.
He went in a year early, and everyone thought he was good. He's going to be a good prospect. He was top-rated in college. And again, it's one example. But like you say, we have no examples. So the few examples I can find where something similar, like missing a season or declaring early. I mean, a counter example might be Tyreek Hill, who basically didn't play in college at all, but then goes to the NFL. A team is smart enough, works with him, develops him, and, he's Tyreek Hill now. As a player, as a person, maybe still needs some work.
Right.
But as a
right
player,
spot, too.
phenomenal.
Right.
So, I
situation,
mean, that's a
right spot.
counter example. I'm not just trying to find negative ones.
Yeah. All right, guys. I am going to say and bid you adieu. I am going to go eat. This was fun talk. You guys got any other last talk about Scott Fishbowl before we head out?
No, I guess not. Does anyone favor going tight end early? I guess that's the only thing I haven't heard anyone talking about. I really ignore it by
I wanted
default.
to. I'm glad you brought that up, Peter. I'm just glad you brought it up because my question was going to be if you missed on Kelsey Kittle, maybe Andrews. Like I just feel like waiting at this point. I just, do I really Evan Ingram, Hunter Henry? Like I'll take Jonnu Smith later. Like I don't know. I don't really know what to feel, but I know I didn't get Kelsey. I didn't get Kittle. Andrews is gone. Like I just feel like waiting at this point.
I even like guys super late, like Chris Herndon, even Gerald Everett. I know everyone's on the Higbee train, but man, Everett is more talented. If you look at the splits when Everett was healthy, he was dominating the snaps. And now I know Higbee, when Everett was out, obviously had a historic stretch, which is great. With tight ends, it's so tricky because every couple of years you have a Gary Barnidge, right? That has a awesome season, and then
what a name,
and then they're a tight end 20 the next year. So I'm not saying Tyler Higbee's that dude. I've always liked Higbee, and I'm glad that he finally produced for those people that have been patient with him. But I think Gerald Everett is super talented, and I think his ADP, if you're looking to go really late tight end, I think he's criminally underrated.
Yeah, Dawson Knox too.
I think that's good.
Of course, Dawson Knox, and always Dawson Knox. Come on now.
Always.
Like Austin Hooper's the last name of like any of the big guys that I'm interested in. He's going pretty late, but after that, I'm with you guys. Like even Jack Doyle, to speak of that Indianapolis Colts situation, he's who
Eric Ebron,
Pittman, for example.
Ebron.
I mean, he's a good one.
I mean, Pittsburgh, if Big Ben's healthy, they're going to throw the ball 650 times. You got to think, right?
I mean, at least he's a tight end that's done it before. Instead of this time, Steelers are going to make one. This is a guy,
Vance McDonald, guys. He's going to break out finally in his age 50 season.
So I got a sleeper tight end.
Done something, yeah.
Why not Tyler Eifert?
Because Josh Oliver. That's why.
When healthy, Tyler Eifert produces, and Gardner Minshew was very accurate. And I mean, Eifert could become a safety blanket. What if Eifert can play? Get this, 5 games.
How many did he play last year? Didn't he play 15 last year or 14?
Who plays more games, Will Fuller or Tyler Eifert? 2 players I absolutely love, by the way. So this hurts me when I say this.
Will Fuller's going on 16 this year. Wow.
Damn right.
Somehow it'll be his only season of his career. I'm putting it out there now. This is it. He's going 15 games. He's playing 15 games this year. Book it.
Will Ray is in the after house. My heart right now because Will Fuller is one of my favorite players in the league, and if he went 15 even, I would jump off the walls.
It would make my Deshaun Watson pick.
Yeah, right. Yeah, really help out those who took Deshaun Watson. I just fill in that empty space there.
How about Kiki QT? How many games is he gonna play?
Who cares?
It's all about Isaiah Coulter. University of Rhode Island, let's go.
And how many games will Andy Isabella actually be relevant?
One when he catches that 100-yard touchdown.
when he body catches a 75-yard touchdown.
Tyler, you've depressed me with my Deshaun Watson pick because Kiki QT won't play the full 16. Will Fuller's not going to play. Brandon Cooks isn't going to play. David Johnson may get hurt and not play. Now I'm just like, what did I do?
Kalahari Waring, though, Ray.
Yeah, Kalahari Waring.
He'll save us.
Waring.
That'll just leave Watson with a lot of easy completions to running backs and tight ends, so he'll be fine.
Yeah, I think David Johnson is going to tear it up. We have somebody in the chat saying Kenny Stills, but I mean, Kenny Stills is that guy he's good, but you throw him in your starting lineup and you're like,
you can't rely on him, right?
No, but we're talking about, how the effect on Watson. Like Kenny Stills can help out Watson a lot, I think. If you
sure. Yeah.
I mean, a
I
lot
heard
of people
David
would help out
Johnson
Watson.
support. I got to get out of here. I heard David Johnson support. I've got to get off of this now.
I really
Y'all are-
think David Johnson's going to smash it this year. Like
At
that would just
his
be
ADP,
that would
at
just
his
be
ADP,
perfect.
I'm interested in DJ at his ADP.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right, fellas.
Well, I took him 101 overall, so it makes sense that someone else drafts him this year and he wins them the league. You know, that's what's going to happen. I can feel it in my bones.
See Ray, this is where Peter keeps trying to elongate the conversation because he's scared to stand up because his back is hurting so bad.
No, I try to elongate the conversation because I just like talking to people. Apparently, I'm not going to
roll
stand
another
up.
cigarette.
That's the
Roll
thing.
some more cigarettes.
You guys are going to go, and I'll just flip the lights off and wait till the next person says, "Hey, anyone want a podcast on Twitter?" That's the goal.
He's got like keywords set up on his phone that when he has that,
He
an
gets
alert
alerts.
goes off.
No, I just sit here in the dark watching the feed. Just wait for the next lonely person.
Ooh, a notification.
Hey, I'm only lonely because my wife was exhausted from the trip this weekend, so we didn't hang out or anything. So I came downstairs and I was watching Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, which is one of my favorite shows. Love watching that show.
Nice.
You guys are all laughing, but you guys are all on the same boat as me. You guys are all older. Well, Ray's like 25, so you three are all older gentlemen. So what's better than watching the Food Network, right? He
Yeah,
can't
Ray's
eat.
like
Why not
Ben-
watch?
Ray's like 10 years younger than us and looks like he could bench all three of us. I think we do have to put him in a different category. But yeah, we're all old sad men. We're with you, Tyler.
We're all-
Dude,
Who won't but Ray?
guys, grocery games is a staple in the Garden household. Get out of here.
Love that.
Love
Love that
guys'
stuff.
grocery games.
So you know Flavortown. All right. Yeah.
Dude, I'm shopping that mentally right now. Like, I'm all up in that.
So do you have this? Do you have this in your house?
I don't have that, but I do have a lot of food and snacks in the back that I'm about to partake in.
Hey,
let's
just
get Peter to
don't
wrap this
wake
up.
that kid up though. Don't hit that broom this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will not, Doug. Thank you.
We're
you.
more of a unsolved mystery family. We sit down and watch crime stories.
Well, when you sit in front of your computer in the dark, waiting for some lonely person to pop up, I mean,
I hate
That's
to
a
break
real
the
unsolved
mystery, but I
mystery.
do actually go up and spend time with my family time every now and again. I hate to break the thin veneer of my life, but no, I do go see him for my family, and we do things together.
we believe you, Peter. I mean,
He said with no conviction whatsoever.
You're like, son,
Yeah.
go get me my spreadsheets off the printer, please.
Yeah, that's mostly it.
he's sitting
Yeah,
there.
I
with his-
print them out by hand so I can read them when I'm not here.
he's sitting there with a whiteboard and a calculator at all times. Hey, how do you like this show? Shh. I think I got a formula I just thought of.
I just created
Wait,
a new
wait.
metric.
I've just thought of a new way of formulating those pretty colors, Ray's like. Just give me a second here. I think I can make it go red to green.
I was just about to say, I think I can get the fumbles, the lower one or the higher fumbles to be the red ones.
I've got to write it. I'll talk to you later, hun.
I tried.
You did great, Ray.
All right, guys. Thank you. My wife just texted me saying I'm loud, so Ray, I better watch out. Speaking
She's
of
not
unsolved
wrong.
mysteries, Peter, I might be on there after this. So
Okay. I'll look for your episode, man.
he was podcasting, then was never seen.
Never seen again.
All right, fellas. Thanks a lot. We should do this again. Do this more often. It was a blast.
Later, boys.
Glad
See
to
ya.
talk to you guys. Thanks.